since this is already connected, why don't they just email?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the meeting of the Mayor and Council of Princeton, New Jersey. It is April 8th, 2024. Thanks for joining us, and we will start with our meeting statement.
Adequate notice of this meeting was provided in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act, including the time, date, and location of the meeting. In addition, the agenda and all related materials were posted electronically and made available to the public on Princeton's meeting portal in advance of the meeting.
Thank you. Leticia will do the land acknowledgement tonight.
Thank you. We gather today on the land of the Lenni Lenape. As members of the Princeton community, we aspire to show appreciation, respect, and concern for all peoples and our environment. We honor the Lenape and other indigenous caretakers of these lands and waters, the elders who lived here before, the indigenous today, and the generations to come.
Thank you. Can we have roll call, please?
Ms. Pearl-Lambros is excused. Ms. Niedergang?
Here.
Mr. Cohen?
Here.
Ms. Sachs is excused. Ms. Fraga?
Here.
Mr. Newland?
Here.
Mayor Frida?
Here.
You have quorum.
If you'd like to stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. We're going to start this evening with a presentation and a resolution. The resolution is 24-113. Resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton declaring the municipality of Princeton to be a book sanctuary and commending and supporting the Princeton Public Library Board of Trustees for declaring the Princeton Public Library a book sanctuary. Is there a motion on that? Thank you, Eve. Is there a second? Thank you, Leighton. And Eve, would you like to start us off?
I would. Thank you so much, Mayor. Thank you for being here tonight for this important resolution. This week is National Library Week, and today, April 8th, is Right to Read Day. It is therefore particularly appropriate that Princeton mark this day by becoming a book sanctuary, taking a stand against book banning and censorship, and firmly in favor of everyone's right to determine what they and their minor children read. Although we are by no means the first in New Jersey to take such a step, thank you, Hoboken, for leading the way, and for Chicago for taking the lead nationwide. We feel compelled to act because of the vast increase in attempts, many successful, to control what titles are in public libraries and public schools. Last year, 4,240 unique book titles were challenged nationwide, a 92% increase over 2022, according to the American Library Association. A very high percentage of attempted book bans are targeted at books written by and about LGBTQ+ persons, people of color, and people from marginalized backgrounds, and seek to impose restrictions based not on the quality or value of the books, but rather on the political, ideological, or cultural preferences of those advocating for the bans. The freedom to read is a fundamental American right, the First Amendment put into practice. The Princeton Public Library's Board of Trustees passed a resolution to declare the library a book sanctuary last month, and Council is proud to support and echo this commitment. A book sanctuary upholds the First Amendment rights of all citizens and supports institutions in which book challenges must follow a specific formalized procedure, as is done in our library. And this is as it should be. The librarians at the Princeton Public Library are the best people to consider and make decisions about whether a book should be on the library shelves. We can all acknowledge that not every published book deserves a place in every library, but acquisition decisions should continue to be made by professionals in this field. State Senator Andrew Zwicker, who is here with us tonight and will speak shortly, has introduced the Freedom to Read Act to protect the First Amendment rights of all New Jerseyans. I thank the Senator for joining this tonight at this important moment.
Senator, would you like to come up and make a statement?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you to all the members of the council. I'm not sure what to say after such a wonderful summary of both the First Amendment issue that is in front of us and our response. First, I want to echo what we just heard, which is to give my gratitude to the library, to the Board of Trustees at the library, to the staff of the library, and to each of you who are following up with this resolution. The fact that there are 4,000 plus books, as you outlined, the statistics are approximately 40% of those books that are challenged now are with LGBTQ protagonists. Another 40% have a protagonist who's a person of color, and sometimes it's both. Is just astounding that we're in 2024 and that we have to declare ourselves a book sanctuary. Still boggles my mind. I want to share with everybody who's here today and who's listening the fact that I was inspired to introduce the New Jersey Freedom to Read Act last year when I heard a presentation by a librarian by the name of Martha Hickson. Martha said no to the bullies. Martha said no to the people who came in with political purposes with the idea that they wanted to, as you just said, control what people were reading based upon their particular ideology. The response to Martha saying no was pretty horrific. The amount of abuse that she has received online and in person and at Board of Education meetings is just unfathomable. And she's not alone. Librarians across the state, librarians across our country now, who are trained in choosing books, as you pointed out, trained in ensuring that the books that are in front of us open up our brains, our young people, to new places, new adventures, new ideas, are under attack, as is the freedom to read. And so this legislation, which is in front of us and which we are working on, which tonight is so critically important to help us build political momentum to get this done, because let's be clear, the other side, while small in number, is loud, very loud in their voice and very loud in their misinformation. And they are stirring up fears of parents because they know that that's what is going to work. So the legislation that is in front of us will do a couple of things, and I'll be very brief here, which is number one, standardize what the Princeton Public Library is already doing and others are doing, which is that it's okay to challenge a book. That's fine, but we're going to standardize that process. And we're going to ensure that you have to have a vested interest if you're going to challenge a book. So what does that mean? It means that if you live in this town and you want to challenge a book in that library that's on the screen right now, that's fine. But if you're coming from another town, another state, that's not okay. That if you want to challenge a book that's in a school library, you need to live in that school district. You need to have a child in that school district. You need to work for that school district. You need to be a member of that community. So we're going to standardize it. We're going to make sure that we can start to reduce the political part that's happening right now. That's one. Two, we are going to protect librarians because no librarian ever signed up for this type of abuse that they're receiving. We are fortunate in New Jersey that we have some of the stronger laws against discrimination at the state level, and we're going to use those laws to protect librarians and highlight that that's what's happening as well. So to do all of that, the bill is out there. We're building political momentum. The normal line is contact your local state representative, but he's presenting right now, so that doesn't quite work. But I do want to give you the bill numbers, which are in the Senate. It is 2421, sponsored by myself and Majority Leader Teresa Ruiz. And in the Assembly is A3446, sponsored by another LD 16 legislator, newest member of our delegation in the 16th, Assemblywoman Michelle Drulis. We need for, not just to hear from you who live here in Princeton, but in your networks to share this with people who don't live in Princeton, who live in any town, whether that's in the 16th district or anywhere else, to, again, reach out to their local legislator. Because I can tell you that when I talk to my colleagues in the Senate, there is confusion about what this bill does, and there's confusion about what's going on. But as you said, any parent has the right to have autonomy over their child and what they choose to read. But no parent should have the right to say what I can read and my children can read or what you and your children can read. And that's what the New Jersey Freedom to Read Act is. So thank you for a few minutes. Thank you, as I said, to the library, to the trustees, to the council, and to the staff here, because this momentum is building from town to town and putting upward pressure to make sure that we get this done. And it is just so incredibly important on, as you pointed out, today, the National Right to Read Day. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator. I believe we're going to hear from our library director.
Thank you. I want to just say thank you on behalf of the library to Mayor and Council for joining Princeton Public Library trustees in declaring Princeton a book sanctuary city. I am extremely proud of this community for coming together to protect the right to read for all Princeton residents. Thank you to Senator Zwicker, who I know is a frequent visitor to our library, for being here with us to kick off National Library Week, which started yesterday. It is more important than ever that we stand up to every individual's right to decide what they would like to read. In addition, libraries shouldn't be punished for serving their communities, as we see happening in other parts of the country. Library staff should be celebrated for their commitment to providing free access to materials that represent a diverse variety of viewpoints. As a matter of fact, tomorrow, April 9th, is National Library Workers' Day. I hope you will join others in Princeton in letting our staff know how much they mean to our community every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Do we have any council comments before we ask for other comments from the public?
Mayor, if I can pull this up real quick. Yes, first want to acknowledge Craig Dinwoody, our communications director, and thank him for what I'm about to read this evening. We have our Bloom Local campaign, and we're very proud of what we do here in Princeton in the springtime, and he's done an extraordinary job of gathering people together to put us on the map about being kind to each other, beautifying our town, and to recognizing our Department of Public Works people and other people in and around Princeton for various and random acts of kindness. So here we go. The Bloom Local campaign is happening now during the month of April and May.
Leighton, we're still on the library, the book sanctuary. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to jump to the rest of the council presentations yet. Just on the, sorry. All right, David?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think this is so important, and it's not just important for causes that are dear to our liberal hearts in Princeton, but it's also important that conservative voices also can be represented in our libraries. And so I think that might almost be more of a risk in Princeton sometimes, that those voices would be suppressed, and I'm glad that this is being framed in a way that really protects all points of view.
Thank you. Okay, do we have other comments from the public or anyone else from the library board or anybody else?
I just want to thank you all for what you're doing.
Come on, sorry, come on up to the microphone. Just say your name so we have it for the minutes.
My name is Bob Ginsberg. I'm president of the Board of Trustees. of the library. We just want to thank you for everything you're doing, for supporting our library in general, but for supporting this movement as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Hi, Chris Van Buren. I'm the Vice President of the Library Board of Trustees. I too want to thank you for what you've done tonight. You know, as a parent, as a reader, as a parent whose kids spend a lot of time at the library, it's a safe space. And I think that this thought leadership brings us to the forefront of this conversation. I appreciate your conversation about having both sides be represented here. I think that's very important because of the discourse that can generate. So I'm always proud when we step out and do something that I can get behind and I think is great for the community. So thank you very much for doing so. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris.
Hi, I'm Jeffrey Liao. I'm the treasurer of the Board of Trustees of the Princeton Public Library. I'd like to thank council. I'd like to thank Senator Zucker for all they're doing on this issue. And agreeing with everything that Bob and Chris have just said, as well as Eve and David and other council members have said, it is the National Day where people celebrate the right to read, but the right to read is central to our democracy. So this issue is not just about books, it's about freedom of thought. And with that in mind, I especially like David's comment, which is this is not about progressives and liberals versus conservatives. This is not about Republicans versus Democrats. This is about all of us as Americans having the democratic right to read, form our own opinions. And it's just so important for our democratic system that this freedom to read is preserved. So again, I thank council, I thank Senator Zucker and everyone in this room for your hard work on this issue.
Thank you. Anyone else here in the room that wishes to speak to this? Wait.
Yes, sorry for losing my place a little bit earlier there, but I do just want to recognize the work that the Princeton Public Library does. I want to give Kim Dorman a shout out as a community engagement coordinator. She is an extraordinary example of advocacy, does her homework, and completely gives all that she possibly can to build community in Princeton. So thank you, Princeton Public Library, board, and everybody who works there for all you give to us. A very grateful community. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. Yeah, I'd just like to throw in real briefly. To me, this is a no-brainer, and the fact that we need, as the senator said, the fact that we even need to worry about doing this is just unbelievable. So thank you to the library board for bringing this up and asking us to join in also. And thank you, Eve, for spearheading it with us. Okay. Any other comments, questions? If not, all in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
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 Okay, thank you very much. Next up, sorry. Oh, we're doing a photo real quick, sorry. Photo op. Senator, come on up front here somewhere, and we're all going to... Okay, next up is the library annual report.
Okay, thank you all so much. Thank you very much for the opportunity to talk about my very favorite topic. Oh, I'm sorry. Go. I jumped right ahead. Sorry. Sorry, Bob.
I just want to say a few things, introduce Jennifer. Good evening. I'm Bob Ginsberg, as I said before, and I wanted to introduce our trustees, but you've met them. We want to thank you for approving the Book Sanctuary resolution earlier this evening. We also want to thank you for allowing us to share some thoughts with you about the library. I've been in Princeton since 1988 and retired in 2022 after 33 years with the Princeton Public Schools. And at the time, I was the Board of Ed's representative to the school board, to the library's Board of Trustees. So I've been on the library's Board of Trustees since February of 1998. So I think I'm probably the longest serving member of a commission or board or anything like that. And I appreciate that the mayor and you all have approved me for another term. This is my first time trying to do something off my phone, so bear with me. I've been with the library, as I said, for a long time, and I was with it when we were first on Witherspoon Street, then when we moved to the temporary headquarters at the shopping center, and then back to the site that we are now in the heart of our community on Witherspoon Street, which was an intentional move on our part because we wanted to be downtown where everybody could come. And just as an aside, our current average daily attendance is 1,700 people coming into the library, and that only includes people who've come actually into the library, not people walking from the parking lot through the library to Witherspoon Street. So that shows the use and the love that people have for our library. Before I introduce Jennifer, our executive director, I wanted to remind everybody some of what you've heard, that this is National Library Week. Today is Right to Read Day. Tomorrow is National Library Workers Day. And a week from tomorrow is National Librarian Day. And so we hope that everybody will acknowledge the work that our librarians and our workers do, not just on those days, but all the way through the year. The library wouldn't be the institution that it is if it wasn't for the people who actually work in the library. So we thank them. And it's those people who've made our library the five-star library that it is. The National Library Journal has rated us 5 stars. They've done that 6 years in a row. We're the only public library in New Jersey to receive that recognition, much less for 6 years in a row. And I should also point out that they acknowledged us as being the top in the whole country library in our budgetary category in terms of the way we manage our budget. So we can assure you that our employees wisely and well use the money that you allocate to us. And with that, I'd like to introduce Jennifer Podolsky, our executive director.
Thank you, Bob. Where was I? Yes, my favorite topic, the library. So, it's an interesting exercise condensing the impact of our work in 2023 into one single 10-minute presentation. As a public library, some aspects of our work are more obvious than others, but this evening I hope to highlight some of the achievements from 2023 that we're most proud of. The library is an integral part of supporting, building, and connecting everyone in our community. In addition to serving the individuals in our town, we amplify our work and expand our reach by serving our business and nonprofit communities. Okay, by the numbers, I love this slide, I do. I love looking at the numbers because I think they just present so much impact. In 2023, 622,984 people visited the library, which is an average of 1,720 people per day. And the library offered 1,821 programs last year, which represented a 26% increase over 2022. Given that staffing levels have remained flat year over year, the significant growth is indicative of the library's staff working tirelessly to provide the programs, services, and spaces that our diverse community wants and needs on a daily basis. Princeton Public Library is doing all of these things, removing barriers to educate, connect, and empower our community, bridging the digital divide over and over again, year after year, as that is still an issue. Promoting early literacy and enhancing educational opportunities for all children. Being a partner for municipal programs and community nonprofits. Being a resource for employment seekers and local businesses. Removing barriers to educate, connect, and empower everyone in our community. We're dedicated to dismantling systems and processes that create inequity. We're open 72 hours a week, more than any other public building in town. The library works to address barriers faced by members of our community on a daily basis. We provide partnerships, programming, and community events that educate, connect, and empower people to break through these barriers. For example, our staff works closely with the Princeton Human Services to provide compassionate support to community's most vulnerable members. We host immigration fairs, offer citizenship classes, and resources for English language learners. Housing was a major focus for the library in 2023 with our year-long Housing Justice Initiative. We provided information on all aspects of housing justice and assistance for patrons with housing issues via expert panels, action fairs, and resource guides. The public library is also a partner for public health programs and education. PPL offered Spanish language assistance to ELL students at Princeton High School to help them apply for healthcare coverage under the Medicare expansion program, Cover All Kids. We're bridging the digital divide. One of the issues that emerged during the pandemic was that some members of our community have limited access to computer equipment and digital resources. The Library of Things enables us to provide free, equitable, and flexible access to technology items, often with high-cost barriers that people can use in an environment that suits their needs. You may be surprised to learn that 327 mobile hotspots and mobile internet kits were checked out in 2023. We have also seen a huge increase in the demand for ebooks, and we are working to ensure that we can meet the needs of our community given the rising costs of the digital materials. Digital materials cost 3 times the amount of a print book, and they have an expiration, which people are surprised to learn. So while a print book may stay on the shelf and you can borrow it as many times as you want because you've purchased it, an ebook expires after a certain amount of uses. So it's definitely a big challenge. This is all critical to ensuring that we can provide equitable access to materials for community members who may not be able to physically travel to the library. We are promoting early literacy and enhancing educational opportunities for all children. We're removing barriers, and we know that early literacy improves long-term outcomes for children. The library supports learning and literacy with collections and programming for children of all ages. We have partnerships with local nursery schools as well as the Princeton Public School System to raise awareness and increase access to library resources. There are special programs for ESL teachers and English language learners, including library visits and tours conducted in English, Spanish, and Mandarin. Thanks to a generous grant from Princeton University, youth materials can now be checked out of the library with no fines or fees. No fines or fees. Say that over and over. Tell everyone you know. Libraries' fees can serve as, we do know this already, and studies have shown that library fees serve as an economic barrier that impede access to library materials and services for the financially disadvantaged within our communities, blocking access to those who need our library services the most. Princeton Public Library is a partner for municipal programs and community nonprofits. We serve our community best when we collaborate and share resources. In 2023, 564 of our 1,821 programs were conducted in collaboration with other organizations. Some highlights include a community discussion about Juneteenth in partnership with the Civil Rights Commission, Festival Cultural Latino hosted in collaboration with 12 other organizations, 33 events in support of the Mayor's Wellness Campaign, Our Meet the Community Partner Program provides monthly tabling opportunities to raise the profile of these organizations within the community. The library is a resource for employment seekers and local businesses. The library is a popular destination in downtown Princeton, bringing foot traffic to local businesses. And alongside this, the library offers a variety of programs and services to our business community and those seeking employment or are in transition. We offer low-cost, tech-ready meeting space that can be rented by private businesses or community nonprofits. We work with professional services of Mercer County to provide weekly educational programming, information services, and networking opportunities for job seekers. We partner with SCORE to provide mentorship and support to entrepreneurs. Our adult services staff offers individual career support appointments, aiding with resume development, job applications, and navigating career resources. We also offer in-person training in our technology center for those who wish to learn new skills or brush up on existing ones. Looking ahead, now we're all about looking ahead, right? So in 2024, we will focus on carrying out the goals of our strategic plan in the areas of accessibility, innovation, and infrastructure. All of these initiatives aim to reduce the barriers that community members may face when utilizing our library services. Some of those projects and initiatives include, in the area of accessibility, continuing to explore ways to eliminate the fines and fees that make library use inequitable to the most vulnerable in our community. Instituting new features to make access to collections equitable, such as auto renewals. This new feature was just launched, if you don't know. This will help patrons avoid accruing late fines on materials if they're eligible for renewal. We're working to ensure that every student in our community has a library card. We're expanding services to the Spanish-speaking community. In the area of innovation, the library will begin expansion of a meeting room on the 3rd floor to build the STEAM Studio, a space that will make regular access to STEAM learning accessible and equitable for the entire community. We are also looking to expand our Library of Things, a collection of non-traditional circulating items that support our mission to engage, inspire, educate, and unite. We will be continuing with projects in the area of infrastructure. We're going to be continuing with projects to enhance the community room and other library meeting spaces. These upgrades will make attending a program or event at the library a better experience, whether it's in person or virtual. Finally, but not the end, because there's a lot more than this, I just picked out a few highlights. The library will be replacing most of the public furniture on the 3rd floor due to significant wear and tear, as most of that furniture is original to the opening of the Sands Library building in 2004, believe it or not, 20 years ago. With this refresh, the library took the opportunity to determine new programming needs for the space and provide furniture that accommodates current and future needs. And speaking of the Sands Library building, we hope that you will all join us on April 24th, 2024, as we celebrate the 20th anniversary of the opening of the Sands Library building. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jennifer. Any quick, Eve?
I'll be quick. Thank you, Jennifer, for that tour. And I especially appreciate, and we've talked about this numerous occasions, how much the library does to ensure access to people who don't always have it. Programs like getting rid of fines, outreach in Spanish, all those kinds of things that we do to ensure that the library is for everybody. So I really appreciate that, appreciate everything you and your staff do. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that wonderful presentation. I also want to say I truly appreciate the library, not just for being such a wonderful community partner, but also, just personally for my family, my kids, who since they were toddlers, that was their favorite place to go. Now they're in college, but now it's my grandkids that get to enjoy that, and it's last time we went, and something I didn't even know was available. They found some kits to make bracelets. So every time they go, they find something new And it's just, for them, going to the library is an exciting adventure that I'm sure it's not just for my family, but many in our community, and I truly appreciate it, everything that you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say ditto to everything that was said, and I'll see you on April 15th because I have an appointment to come down and see the tax people to help me with my taxes, so thank you.
Something for everyone.
Okay. Jennifer, any questions you were hoping we would ask you that we didn't ask or anything?
I think you, no, just come to the library. Yeah.
There we go.
We'll answer them there.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Drew Dyson, CEO of the Center for Modern Aging Princeton, has a presentation. You know, let me just move that.
Okay. I feel too hard. Okay. That's okay. I can wait. I'm Joan Gerges. I'm the current chair of the board of the Center for, all right. All right, is that better?
Yes.
Everybody?
That way the people remotely can hear you.
Okay. So, again, I am Joan Gerges. I'm the current chair of the board of the Center for Modern Aging Princeton, known as CMAP, at least around our building and in general, I think, increasingly in the community. We both acknowledge that we are the Princeton Senior Resource Center, and if you write to the Princeton Senior Resource Center, it will get flipped over to CMAP. I want to start just by thanking the council for 50 years of partnership. This coming year is our 50th anniversary, which is an amazing run, and through that entire period of time, it has been in partnership with the council. We wouldn't exist without you. It's really that simple. I particularly want to acknowledge Eve Niedergang, who has been a just wonderful and remarkable liaison. We have been very fortunate in our liaison. She has, I don't know if taken under her wing is the right way to say it, but she has certainly been an amazing partner, as was David Cohn before her. And so we look forward to the next iteration. We are fans of the entire council. The partnership that we have with the municipality is an unusual one because it's a public nonprofit partnership, and there aren't other partnerships of that kind very often, and there are no other partnerships of that kind in New Jersey involving municipalities and senior centers. So we are a very special relationship. It enables us to serve all the older adults in our community with remarkable programs of all sorts. And we want to acknowledge as we celebrate, and we are going to celebrate, all of you come and party with us, our 50th anniversary. We want to acknowledge the partnership with incredible gratitude and with a sense of looking forward of what's to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, Mayor Frida and Council, thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit about the Center for Modern Aging Princeton this evening and some of the things that we have been doing over the course of the past year. It was September 1974 when Jocelyn Helm had a vision for serving the older adults of Princeton, and at Spruce Circle, an organization called Tenant Services was formed to serve the residents of Spruce Circle, and that was the initial foundation of the Princeton Senior Resource Center that was then incorporated as the Princeton Senior Resource Center in 1978, began doing business in 2011 as PSRC, and then in January of 2024 as the Center for Modern Aging Princeton. Our new name, the Center for Modern Aging Princeton, that is a DBA because our corporate identity remains the Princeton Senior Resource Center. But that affirms several things. It affirms first our commitment to the community of Princeton, born here and continue to operate in support of the residents of the municipality of Princeton. It incorporates our commitment to serving 4 different generations of older adults. We have at any given time people from 55 to 103. And as you can imagine, one of the few organizations like the library in our community that serves vast number of people across generations, and many of our 55 to 70-year-olds don't consider themselves seniors. And so the name change helps us to look forward to a new generation and connecting with all of the older adults in our community, and reflects our innovative and technological approach to the way we do our work. Our mission, quite simply, is to help older adults thrive. And that has not changed from the beginning in 1974. We offer support and guidance to older adults and their families. We provide vital human connections, compassionate social services, dynamic lifelong learning, and meaningful volunteer opportunities for those in our community from 55 and above. Our strategic plan in 2022 through 2027 had 4 key areas of growth. The first one was diversity, equity, and inclusion. We knew that we wanted to reach more diverse constituents, younger constituents, to increasingly reflect the diversity of our community, more intentional connection with those in the transition years to retirement from 55 to 70. We wanted to expand our reach, both locally, expanding our presence in underserved communities, such as our commitment in our affordable housing communities, connecting with more homebound individuals, but also connecting broader with people who either once had a connection with Princeton and then moved to a new location and were made connected to their friends or otherwise. So expanding our reach, expanding our visibility and our communications through our rebranding, renaming, our new website, and expanding our organizational capacity. In 2 short years of this strategic plan, the numbers here just tell a little bit of that story of where we've grown. The bottom line number is in fiscal year 22, which ended in June of 2022, we had connected that year with 4,500 older adults, roughly. To date, in fiscal year 24, which still has 1 quarter to go, we've had 5,700 unique people participate in our program, in our services, and representing a 25% growth just through the first 3 quarters of this fiscal year. So we anticipate that continuing to grow even further. But each number up here in that total represents a unique individual. So many people participate across many of these different things, whether it's in our social service groups or clients who are receiving case management or participating in a support group or our ongoing programs. So there's been significant amounts of progress over the last year, and I want to highlight just a few of those tonight. The first area is in our communications. Our renaming, our rebranding, our new website has been a major effort over the course of a year and a half. And it continues to be an effort as we unfold that in the community, as we share that renaming and rebranding broadly. We've received incredible support and encouragement for the renaming and rebranding, refreshing the look of what we do, but also reflecting the innovation that we try to embody in the work that we do. So the communications work has been a significant mark of progress. The thing that I'm most excited about is our work with the non-English speaking community. And so that those programs that I mentioned there in Russian, Spanish, and French are not bilingual programs, but they're programs offered in Russian, programs offered in French, programs offered in Spanish, and portions of our newsletter offered that way. In our communications on our webpage, you can select the language that you'd like to view our webpage in, and you can translate the entire webpage at the click of a button so that it's accessible to more people in our community. We've had extraordinary connection with these groups. Just a few days ago, we had a Russian-speaking tea and there were about 18 people that were gathered in the Nancy S. Class Center. I went to greet them and learned a few words in Russian, but didn't understand a whole lot, but it was more the joy on their faces of having a community that they're connected with. Our Spanish book club, when we first started, it was a bilingual book club, and we had a lot of European English speakers who were intrigued. And so we said, well, this isn't really what we're trying to do. So we said, let's do a Spanish book and have the book club in Spanish in entirety and not a bilingual program. And people began to come, and people were drawn to the opportunity to speak their native tongue, to engage in dialogue in new ways. And so those programs, as well as our bilingual Spanish-English programming, has been a significant area of growth for us. We've added several new support groups in the last few years. Aging Gaily is a group of LGBTQ older adults, and it is a significant and growing group in our community. Looking forward to celebrating Pride Day. We've partnered with both High Tops and the Bayard Rustin Center for different programs and work, but to see these older adults come together and be able to be authentically themselves and feel welcomed in our space has been an incredible work that we've seen over the last few years. Additionally, Forever Young is a new program for our 55 to 70-year-olds. Forget Me Not is a program for caregivers who are caring for a loved one with dementia or early stage memory loss, and the loved one that they're caring for. So they come together for some shared programming, they have separate programming, and that has been significantly increasing over the last few months. We've expanded our on-site services in our affordable housing communities, as you know, with the partnership with Pearl and now Conifer, and seeing the work grow there, but also expanding our hours at Spruce Circle and Reading Circle, our connection with Princeton Housing Authority and the work that's been done there. We've carried out a federal grant program for vaccine health through the National Council on Aging, in large part in partnership with the Princeton Health Department. And we've seen significant progress in overall vaccine health for over adults. Before we undertook that grant work, there was a small percentage of New Jersey older adults who had received their COVID booster shots. And that was really the goal. We had a very high percentage receiving initial boosters, but then to boost the boosters, if you will, or the new shots now that are coming out annually. We've seen an increase in our board and staff diversity, reflecting the richness of our community. New community connections through things like On-Stage Seniors, which is providing a venue for older adults to do dramatic productions, or Community Without Walls, which provides community-to-community, peer-to-peer support. We've expanded our intergenerational programming. We've expanded our technology lab, and we serve over 1,000 older adult clients every year with technology support. I know one of the things that I appreciate about the library is the commitment to bridging the digital divide, and that divide is even it's ratcheted up with older adults because the frustration with the technology, let alone the access. And so we provide the ability to work with people. We've had an iPad class where we have taught older adults how to use the iPad. We have gone through several, it's an 8-part course. At the end of the course, members of our affordable housing communities can apply and receive their iPad for free at the end. So it's a grant program that they got the training and then got the iPad to keep and take with them. And so it's had significant impact through technology. All of these things are significant signs of progress. There's 3 quick stories that I want to share. One is in our Little Brick School through our Grandpals program that I know many of you are familiar with. For 25 years, nearly every kindergarten student in Princeton has had a Grandpal, an older adult reader. Several people on our board, their children had Grandpals, and that's how they got connected with us. Ella, who's our coordinator of Grandpals, noticed a student next to one of the children's name at Little Brook, noticed a note next to one of the students' name, and it said, "Albert only speaks Russian." So as a native Russian speaker herself, Ella offered the librarian and the teacher to help with Albert, and so she became Albert's grandpal. But within a few short weeks, she was able to recruit a grandpal from one of our affordable housing communities that speaks Russian, and a native Russian speaker and Albert have been doing bilingual reading for the remainder of the year. Our ESL class that we launched this past year, 13 Spanish-speaking and Russian-speaking students together with 3 different instructors learning a language that is new to many of them. Yuri and Odessa are a couple that came here in February of 2022, fleeing their home in Ukraine. And their plan was to only stay with their children for a brief time. They've been here since then, and they found a community at the Center for Modern Aging Princeton, and they found support through our ESL program. And so that's been a significant work as well. And then there's Maria from Bogota, Colombia, who came to our first bilingual bingo program and now connects weekly with the Spanish Book Club and with our Global Conversations group. And Maria told Anna, who's our coordinator for DEI, a few weeks ago, she said, "Anna, I was isolated and I was missing my home, but now, thanks to you, I've found a community and I've found friends." And so this is also the work that we've done. So significant growth in the efforts that we've made to reflect our community and to reach our community in significant ways. And thanks in large part to the encouragement and the challenge of the council to do so. And so we thank you for that. I just want to close by a few things that are possibilities that we're looking forward to in year 50. As Joan said, our 50th anniversary that we'll celebrate beginning in September of 2024 and beyond. So we look forward to branding the Center for Modern Aging Princeton online, a fully virtual senior center to provide the things that we provide, but also to provide them through virtual capabilities. So to be able to have lifelong learning programs, social service support, technology education, and be able to participate in that fully virtually. We look forward to launching in the years ahead, in the next year, Third Act, A Purposeful Retirement, focused on transition to retirement, helping people with all the different aspects as they think about not only the practical aspects of transitioning to retirement, what are the financial implications, the tax implications, the housing implications, but also helping people with the emotional and psychological implications of transitioning to retirement. One of the things we hear all the time from people who are newly retired is, I went from having 300 emails a week in my inbox to 200 of them, but now 198 of them are junk mail, and because it's my personal email. And so the idea of how do I feel useful in my retirement years is an important question. We also intend to launch the Older Adult Volunteer Corps. Our commitment as Center for Modern Aging Princeton is not only to serving our constituents, but also the broader community. And so we've worked with several other nonprofit partners on an Older Adult Volunteer Corps to help connect the older adults that we work with who have time, wisdom, expertise, and experience with the needs not only that we have at Center for Modern Aging, but also more broadly in the nonprofit community. So the concept behind this Older Adult Volunteer Corps is that we would be a clearinghouse for older adults who want to serve, and that we would continue to expand our relationships with the other nonprofits and community organizations to be able to deploy volunteers. So one of the things I've heard from my colleagues in other nonprofits is their difficulty in recruiting volunteers. Well, we have the connections with the people who have the time and the experience. And so if we can be a vehicle to help connect people, that will not only boost our work, but also the broader work of the entire nonprofit community. And in the spring of 2025, we look forward to launching a symposium on ageism in the community. And so we're bringing in national speakers for that symposium and to reflect together as a community on how ageism is impacting our society and how it's impacting us here in Princeton and in Mercer County, and to reflect on some of the research and some of the possibilities for what that can lead us to in the future. And lastly, let me say a word about our work in advocacy. One of the things that we are committed to doing is being an advocate for the older adults in our community. And in particular, one of the programs in New Jersey that's coming to an end this year is the Affordable Connectivity Program. 2 years ago, we worked really hard going door to door in all of our affordable housing communities to register people for the Affordable Connectivity Program, which gave them access in their homes to internet. And that was an important thing, and it gave them that for free as part of the program. Well, now, as that program is about to sunset, they're going to begin to get bills for that work. And as you know, one of the things that we're working to do is find ways to advocate for the Affordable Connectivity Program to be built into our budget, be built into our commitments as a state, because that type of program, when that goes away and when that access goes away, it also creates isolation. And it will lead to, we know that isolation for older adults is a significant health detriment to the same tune, research shows, as smoking a pack a day of cigarettes. That's how impactful social isolation for older adults can be. So if we take away the digital connection that people have come to rely on in this post-pandemic world, and whatever the future holds, then we will do certain harm to the older adults that we all want to serve. So that's something that we hope you will join us in advocating for, the continuation of a program like ACP. Thank you very much, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you all have.
Thank you very much. Questions, comments? Eve?
I'll just say briefly, Joan and Drew, thank you. Thank you for the work you do. And I think you kind of sell yourself short in a way when you talk about what you do as the Center for Modern Aging, because as you have said, so many of your programs are intergenerational. I was just reading the newsletter. You're hosting COCO for, grandparents, I assume, to bring their kids, the Grandpals program, a lot of other programs that you have that are reaching people far beyond just the designated age group. And I just want to say personally, recently a friend contacted me because of new caregiving responsibilities that she had, and I was like, oh, I know where to tell you to go. There's a group you can go to at CMAP. There are social workers that you can meet with to help you, and it was fabulous to know where to send them and knowing that they would get good help there, and not every community has that. So thank you, both of you, and the staff, of course, for all the work that you do.
Other council comments or questions? Layton?
Yeah, Drew, I told you on the way in this morning how excited I was about you coming here. I read your presentation. I just want to say we had two great presentations today. The first one by the library shows that Princeton is a great place to grow up, and the second one by you, Drew, shows that it's a great place to grow old. So good job for Princeton all around. Thank you.
Thank you.
Drew, I'd like to just say thank you to you, your staff, and your board. It is amazing all you guys do, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to announcements and reports. Any council announcements or reports? Layton, do you have anything on?
Is it the right time now?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to get it right this time. Thank you, everyone. Just want to talk a little bit about our spring campaign, Bloom Local, and give Craig Dinwoody, who I believe left, a shout out for the work he and our clerk, Raina, and our entire staff is doing. The Bloom Local campaign is happening now. During the month of April and May, check out Experience Princeton's website for local events happening in Princeton. Let's step into spring with a renewed energy and spirit, celebrating this time of community and connection. There are plenty of volunteer events taking place throughout Princeton, such as stream and park cleanups, that are a great opportunity to come together, talk, and ensure our town stays beautiful and clean. The spring photo contest is also happening now. You can learn more about it on the homepage of the municipal website. Thank you.
Thank you, Layton. Any other council announcements, or Eve?
I just have something brief on for the Center for Modern Aging Princeton. They are hosting a spring concert on Thursday, April 18th at the Stonehill Church. It's a fundraiser for the organization. They have The Amazing Grace and GLB, who present everything from jazz to pop, rock to R&B, funk to reggae. And following the concert, there is a dessert reception, so hope you'll join them.
Thank you. Any other council announcements or reports? Okay. Let's go to public comments for items not on the agenda. If anyone in the room or on Zoom has anything they want to bring up that's not on the agenda, this would be the time to do it. All right, seeing nobody in the room and no hands up on Zoom, we will close that part of the meeting, and now we'll go to our public hearings. We have 8 ordinances for public hearing. First up is ordinance 2024-12, an ordinance by the municipality of Princeton authorizing the acquisition by negotiated purchase of property identified on the tax map of the municipality of Princeton as Block 1001, lots 1, 2, and 14, located at 725 Herrontown Road, 823 Herrontown Road, and 915 Mount Lucas Road, pursuant to NJSA 4812-1, and tonight is the public hearing. So could we have a motion on this for this evening? Thank you, Eve. Leighton has the second. Council questions, comments? Eve?
I do have a comment, oddly enough. In December of 2021, Council approved the purchase of a 153-acre tract of land, the largest parcel of undeveloped forested land in Princeton. Preserving that land added to our green space, maintained native habitat for local flora and fauna, allowed thousands upon thousands of trees to continue taking up carbon, built resiliency against flooding, and took a concrete step towards completing the Emerald Necklace Initiative, which envisions the ability to walk the entire perimeter of our community on public or publicly accessible land. Since that time, Council President Mia Sachs and I have been working along with our indispensable partners, the Friends of Princeton Open Space, the Ridgeview Conservancy, the New Jersey Conservation Foundation, and the Watershed Institute, to preserve the second largest tract of undeveloped land in our community. Tonight, those efforts come to fruition. This purchase would not have been possible without the expertise and hard work and the funding of our consortium partners, and I thank all of them for the countless hours spent on this project. I also want to recognize our Administrator, Bernie Huzdovic, who is sick, but I see that he's on the Zoom meeting, so thank you, Bernie. Without whose leadership and preservation, this effort would not have succeeded. Bernie has been absolutely critical to this effort. And finally, a shout out to our first and former open space manager, Cindy Taylor, who contributed to these efforts, and our current open space manager, who's here tonight with us, Inga Reich. I also want to note that although this purchase and the following bond is for $9.1 million, state Green Acres funding, county funding, a special thank you to County Executive Dan Benson, who went above and beyond the usual cap, and private fundraising means that Princeton's share will be around $2 million. Both those funds and the payment on the debt service for this purchase will come from Princeton's Open Space Trust Fund, which is supported by a separate levy approved by the voters of Princeton specifically for the purpose of preserving open space, and those funds must be used for this purpose. With this purchase, we move our focus from the acquisition phase to the critical priority of building trails, placing signage, and making these and other open spaces accessible to all, including those in our community living in affordable housing and in the center of our town. Environmental justice has been and will continue to be a critical element of our focus going forward.
Thank you, Eve. Other council comments or questions? Public comment, if anyone wants to come up and make a comment? Just come on up to the podium, state your name and address, and our 3-minute timer might come up, but
There is no danger of the 3-minute timer because Eve has said everything important. But I am here tonight, Wendy Mager, 459 Cherry Hill Road, on behalf of Friends of Princeton Open Space. I want to echo the thanks to municipal staff and to our nonprofit partners and the municipality for bringing this project to fruition. And it's not just something that was turned to, after the success of 2021. I was looking at some of my notes about this property, and they go back at least to 2012. And it's been in the master plan as an important parcel to preserve for a long time. And I'll just say one other thing about its environmental significance, which is really going back to the 1980s. And the municipality has been working to preserve land on the ridge for a long time. Professor Henry Horn of Princeton University pointed out that a really critical element is this continuity and not fragmenting this environmental asset that is providing services to us, such as Eve mentioned, in terms of gathering stormwater that otherwise turns into floods, but providing us the mental and physical opportunities to really enjoy living in Princeton. So thank you. I'm very happy to be here for this occasion.
thank you.
Hello, I'm Christopher Barr from 211 Ridgeview Road. I'm speaking as the Executive Director of Ridgeview Conservancy, one of the consortium partners. And I too want to express our deep gratitude to the Council, and particularly to Eve and to Mia, as well as Bernie Hostovich, for the leadership that you all have shown, as well as to our consortium partners. As Eve mentioned, this has been a process that's been underway for several years. This was a property that's been identified in Princeton's master plan for well over a decade. And as the largest remaining forest that's not yet under protection in Princeton, it's really critical that this property be protected. It's, I think, very significant that it's contiguous with Onum Hill Preserve and virtually adjacent to Harrington Woods. And so in a sense, preserving, this 90 acres will greatly enhance, I think, the use and the environmental values and certainly the habitat connectivity associated with those two properties. And I think more generally, conserving these properties, even on the periphery of Princeton, it's the green infrastructure that Princeton needs to support the smart growth that's concentrated downtown and elsewhere. This property is significant for its for supporting climate resilience, for its the streams that run through it, for the wetlands, which support a mega population of amphibians in the area. It provides habitat for critical and endangered species, the wood turtle, the red-shouldered hawk. And I think in terms of equity and environmental justice, a point that's often been overlooked is that it's immediately adjacent to affordable housing, which is just downslope of where the 29 homes that have been proposed for the site would be. And so it's easy to imagine that the construction of those homes would contribute to flooding, just downstream. And so we're really enthused. This is a critical part of Princeton's Emerald Necklace Initiative, as Eve pointed out. And I think this is one more step where our generation of Princeton residents and organizations is really trying to secure the future for future residents, both in Princeton and in the area. So thanks very much.
Thank you.
Good evening. Sophie Glovier, 68 Drake's Corner Road. I'm here this evening representing the Watershed Institute. I want to echo the thanks of everyone, to the council members, particularly even Mia, to the staff, to our nonprofit partners. Jay Watson, who is one of the co-directors of New Jersey Conservation Foundation, referred to this group as a dream team, and I think that's really true, and I'm just so glad to have been a part of it. At the Watershed, as you all know, our mission is to keep water clean, safe, and healthy, and preserving this piece of open space is directly relevant to that goal. These parcels are identified as the highest priority lands for water quality protection, as identified by the New Jersey Conservation Blueprint. This is a statewide map that identifies lands that are important for water and water resources, including wetlands, floodplains, and land areas surrounding small headwater streams. As an employee of the Watershed, I hear frequently from community members who are negatively impacted by the flooding. That is the result of these extreme precipitation events that we know are going to increase because of climate change. And preserving this piece of open space will avoid a significant increase in the volume of polluted stormwater runoff that would have been generated by the additional impervious surfaces associated with these planned development. And as stated before, preserving this property also means that this large old forest will continue to provide the entire community with many benefits, including taking up stormwater, sequestering carbon, and providing habitat. I would just say to Councilman Newlin, not with this acquisition, not only is it going to be a great place to go to the library and grow up and grow old, but this open space is going to help us all to remain healthier, both mentally and physically, hopefully for generations to come. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Am I supposed to write my name down? Or?
No, it's okay.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. My name's Rob Tangent, and 66 Shady Brook Lane in Princeton. I'm not here representing anyone. I just like to walk in the woods. And for the last couple of years, I've been out doing that a lot. I got new hips a couple of years ago, and I've been out living here, exploring off the beaten path a little bit, trying to find my own. I didn't know it was called an emerald necklace at the time, but so I've been down that undeveloped stretch of Herringtown Road that adjacent to this right now, dozens and dozens of times, and I've always, as a kid, it brings out the little boy in me that says, "Oh, look at those woods over there. I wonder what's over there." And to know that thanks to your work, I'm going to get to go walk around in there now and find out, I'm just ecstatic. So I won't belabor the point, but one thing, I like to find secret paths, and I found a way to go basically from my house down 5 houses to Carnegie Lake and along the shore through a series of connected paths. This will connect me even further. I can get to this stretch of woods with walking on a quarter mile of street, and 3 miles of woodland easy. So, like I say, connecting to the community and making it easy to get people, it's just awesome. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else in the room? All right. Adam, do we have anybody on Zoom with a hand up? Oh, I'm sorry. One more in the room.
Thank you. I'd appreciate if the clerk would not turn the counter on. I find it very distracting to stare at 4-foot-high numbers flashing as I speak. I think it's really quite disrespectful to the citizen. I'm sorry to be querulous.
Well, you can say that, but you still have Bruce.
I was shocked to see that,
Okay.
Mark. I got to
Bruce,
tell you.
we-
I've never
we do
seen
it-
such a thing
Bruce,
in any public meeting.
First of all, as we ask everyone, if you would state your name and address.
Thank you.
And then you have 3 minutes to.
I don't
make your
mind 3
comments.
minutes, but I was asked by Councilman Needham to brief you on what we had done in this case. 3 minutes or not is fine, but I have to tell you, it shocked me to walk in here and see that thing.
Okay,
You
thank
can get a small counter so everyone can see it. I have been
Bruce.
in courtroom. No, Mark, listen.
Please.
I am amazed to see that. All right?
Okay.
You're not seeing numbers flashing as you speak.
We see it right
We
in front
are.
of us. We have screens in front
Not
of
4
us.
feet high. I was utterly amazed to see that, Mark. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to you, but I think it's disrespectful to the citizen. All right, it turns what we have to say here, or people have to say here, into numbers. It's not right. I've never been in any public meeting anywhere where that is done.
Okay.
With respect, I'm going to decline to speak.
Bruce, I'd really like to give you your full 3 minutes to say what you need to say.
Fine.
Would
Well,
you
then
please?
note my objection. I hope you will consider getting rid of that.
Thank
It is really wrong for the citizen to have to look at. I'm amazed, Mark. My name, for the record, is Bruce Safran. I'm at 10 Brayburn Drive. Councilmember Niedergang asked me to come and briefly describe the nature of what is being preserved. And I had some medical procedure earlier today, so I'm a little hard to speak. It's a little hard to speak. This is a very unique project. And there are 3 things in particular that people don't quite realize about this project. One is its history. Councilmember Newland has spoken to me on some occasions about this. Now, we knew there was an African-American orphanage historically off the site of this property. But what we learned in our research is that this property was the farm that supported the orphanage. And so although in the modern day we have parcels that are divided, and this parcel no longer is on the same parcel where the physical orphanage was, it was all one integrated element. So the site, first of all, has historical importance. The African American Orphanage was a major public project that benefited a very severely repressed minority community in most of the state. But in Princeton, there was, even early on, a different attitude. So this property is indicative of that history. And this is something we learned as we researched it. So to put 39 units of housing and make a plateau across this and dump thousands of tons of rubble is really antithetical to an important part of its history. The second point is that this is not only a recovering woodland. In 1870, and this is part of our research, the U.S. Geological Survey identified existing woodland on this site, and we know where those were based on their maps, which means probably by 1820, that section of the property had been left intact and was never developed again. So we're looking at woodlands that are probably more than 200 years old, comprising part of that property. This is an extremely rare element in any wooded area in New Jersey. This is something that hadn't really come out in the hearings yet because we were at this for 5 years, as Mr. Cohen knows. But we hadn't really got to the expert testimony from the objective side. This is something that would be brought up, but I think it's important for the public to know we're looking at a piece of property that has woodlands literally 200 years old. The third element is that this is a fundamental part of the vernal habitat in the community. In addition to what Chris may have referred to about the emerald necklace, or others have done too, which closes that gap, this particular property is vernal habitat registered by DEP. And there are several areas of known vernal pools on this site. Now, when Stonehill Church was built, and that serves a great community function, it did cut off part of the water supply to those vernal pools. What we pointed out, and would have done more, is that by building this plateau, we would have cut off the water supply, and those vernal pools would have lost probably 30% of the natural water. So clustering actually has some negatives, which we would have pointed out. I want to just say this is an extremely rare piece of property. It is a recovering wood. Part of it, as I said, is virtually virgin wood. The farmed area was last farmed 30 years ago. It is already in what you can call a mid-seral stage of recovery. So it's a recovering woodland. It is a very large property. It has diversity with vernal pools, highlands. It has multiple areas of different herbaceous and woody plants. We identified, I think, 70 moth species, which is a high indicator. So in substance, for those who don't know about it, and obviously there are always ways to spend money in different areas, Councilmember Niedergang asked me to come here and explain the importance of this site. And I do want to compliment the Thompson family because Lanwin, from the beginning, had said it wanted to preserve it.
Bruce, I need to ask you to wrap up.
That's fair enough. And they really did want to preserve it. And, although it's a high price in some ways, everyone came together from all ends. So thank you.
Thanks, Bruce. Any other comments in the room?
Thank you all. We're just really grateful for the transformational leadership you
Trish, if
showed.
we could just again start with your
Oh,
name,
sorry.
and,
Yeah,
name and address.
Patricia
Sorry.
Shanley, 211 Ridgeview. We moved here from the Brazilian Amazon in Indonesia, where we work on forest conservation and where we see up close what happens when you lose forests. It degrades not only the land, it really degrades the community and the people. And so when we got here, we saw green. We were like, yay, there's been these amazing people that have already done it. And then we learned that the last two older growth, unfragmented forests might be cut down. And so it's been a long haul, and it took a lot of education and work, but we're thrilled. Locally, it's important because a lot of these species that are rare and endangered need like 200 to 600 acres of intact, unfragmented forest. They don't have enough to eat if it's not that large. So that's critical. It's also critical for human health, as has been pointed out. You know, our community will be so better off when we can make linkages from downtown to these forests. So we're not done yet. And globally, it's critical because without these forests, Princeton would not have been able to get to 30 by 30. Global scientific consensus, 190 countries have signed on to save 30% of the Earth's land and waters by 2030, and it should be 50% actually. However, for Princeton to get to 30, we needed to get these, and we've done it. It's a legacy for the youth. The youth are really excited. You're showing them an example, and along with all of those in the room, I'd like to thank, too, the Herringtown Lane Neighborhood Association that has been doing this research with Bruce Afrin and Matthews and her entire group, did this way before any of us arrived. They've been looking at this and working really hard, so we thank them as well. And the Ridgeview Turtles are here in spirit. They're really, really grateful, and we're glad that the Emerald Necklace will be happening. Thanks to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Trish. Anybody up? Come on.
Just really briefly, Inga Reich, 293 South Harrison Street. I just want to say thank you very much to everyone who made this possible. The first time I heard about the property was when I was reviewing the development application when I was with the Princeton Environmental Commission. And it made me really sad to think about this wonderful place being developed. So thank you, and I'm looking forward to hopefully improving and making this wonderful place accessible.
Thank you. There's only one or two people left in the room. You sure you don't have anything to come up and say? Okay, I think we do have somebody, yeah, we do have someone on Zoom. Adam, can you bring Jay in? Jay?
Hi, good evening, Mayor.
Yeah.
How are you? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, 1 second, Jay. Hey, Adam, can we just turn the volume up a little bit? Jay, go ahead.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Thank you so much for having me this evening. I'm Jay Watson. I'm co-executive director at New Jersey Conservation Foundation, New Jersey Conservation Foundation. I just wanted to join tonight just to thank you all for putting this ordinance forth to preserve these lands along the Princeton Ridge this evening. As you know, we will not see many other opportunities to preserve tracts of land in Princeton of this size and importance. This is a really forward-thinking project that many future generations of people, flora, and fauna will enjoy. And as has been said earlier, accomplishing projects of this magnitude like this have a lot of moving parts and complications along the way. I know many of you have been at this project for a very long time. And as has been said earlier, they also require the assemblage of many partners to convene to ensure their success, as Councilwoman Niedergang and Sophie mentioned earlier. And I really do believe that a dream team has convened to get these projects done in Princeton, along the Princeton Ridge and this Emerald Necklace. And we thank all of the Princeton team for getting us to this important point. And we're really grateful that you brought New Jersey Conservation Foundation into this project and into this work as a funding partner and a technical partner. So thank you and congratulations to everybody involved in this project.
Thank you, Jay. Anyone else on Zoom? Okay, I think we've exhausted everyone that had a comment. We will close the, let me just make sure there were no other council comments or questions. Okay, we will close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote.
Ms. Niedergang?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Carried.
There we go. Success. Thank you. Next up is ordinance 2024-19, bond ordinance providing for the acquisition of open space in and by Princeton in the county of Mercer, New Jersey, appropriating $9,100,000 therefore, and authoring the issuance of $9,100,000 bonds or notes of Princeton to finance part of the cost thereof. And tonight is the public hearing. Is there a motion? Thank you, Eve. Layton's got the second. Any council comments or questions? Seeing none, any public comment or questions? All right, nobody in the room, no one on Zoom. All right, we'll close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote, please.
Ms. Niedergang?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Carried.
Thank you. Now we're fully done on that. Ordinance 2024-13, an ordinance by the municipality of Princeton regulating one-way streets and specifically traffic movement on Chambers Street and amending the code of the Borough of Princeton, New Jersey, 1974. Thank you, Leticia. Is there a second? Thank you, Layton. Moved and seconded. Any council questions or comments? Are any public questions or comments on the ordinance to address Chambers Street? Yes, David.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to double check with Jim. I know that the preamble to the ordinance indicates the construction will be done by May 16th. Do you feel comfortable that even if construction is not done at that time, that this ordinance will enable us to reopen the two-way traffic, and the hotel folks will just have to work with us to finish up their construction after that date if need be?
Yes, I feel comfortable that we will be able to work with the construction team at the Graduate Hotel to get the project done without serious impact to traffic.
Thanks.
They'll be done.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from council? Any public questions or comments on this one? All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Roll call vote.
Ms. Niedergang?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Carried.
Thank you. Ordinance 2024-14, bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements in and by Princeton in the county of Mercer, New Jersey, appropriating $16,117,500 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $15,311,625 bonds or notes of Princeton to finance part of the cost thereof. Is there a motion? Thank you, Leticia. Layton's got the second. Are we presenting anything on this, or?
I can.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a PowerPoint to go through each of the ordinances.
Yeah, that would be great.
Just have to have Adam hook us up here.
All right. Hey, Adam's
Maybe
our
back to
tech
page
guy in the
one.
back, so
Oh,
I'm
there
just
we
not talking to some random person. Hey, Adam in the back. We need the presentation for Sandy. There we go.
Okay, so this ordinance is a multi-purpose ordinance that's $16 million. Excuse me, it provides $800,000 as a down payment. If you remember, when we introduced the budget, we had $1 million set aside for down payments for all these capital projects. So we're under that number a little bit. And it's kind of hard to read these ordinances because of the way that they're put together by bond counsel based on the useful life of the particular project. So I'm going to go through them kind of quickly. But the first section that we have is police. And one of the major items for them is the sirens and lights for the police vehicles. The police vehicles are not bondable through capital. They're an operating expense. But we have to pay for the lights and sirens, and that is bondable. You can read through the other items that are on here. They always put in for the ballistic vests. They have some firearm repairs and some upgrades to the dispatch center. Under IT, and let me also mention a few other things. We did meet with all of the departments. We had a committee that went through all of their capital budgets, And what we looked at when we went through these capital budgets was how much that they had already on the books that was not spent for a lot of these projects. So the number of all of these ordinances for tonight is close to 40 million, but it was upward closer to 50 million. So we were able to make a lot of reductions on a lot of these requests that we have. Not really anything crazy here on IT. Again, this is one of the departments that we did look at what they had provided for some requests that they had made, and we were able to make some big reductions here as well. On recreation, the majority of their projects, they have a lot of small projects on here. We were, again, able to remove some of their projects. We have some grant funding that we were able to use for some of the rec. But for their biggest project right now is Community Park South. I know they've done a couple presentations, the survey work was done, and the RFP for design services is already underway. The library, they were, just here a short time ago, and they always talk about their furniture and their equipment replacement. Takes a wear and tear on a lot of the foot traffic that they get there, and so their requests were not, they're sizable amounts, but only 3 projects. Engineering, again, you can go through the list, but mostly their projects, their big project for this year is the Nassau Streetscape. We've had pieces of this project over the last couple of years, but this is by far the design and construction is the majority of the work that's going to be done. They have various roadways throughout this project list, and they've identified various streets that they're going to take care of this upcoming year. Under the Public Works Streets and Roads budget, mostly equipment, mostly vehicles. Again, we hold on to our vehicles. You can see there's a 2011 that's being replaced, a 2012. So we hold on to these vehicles well past their useful life, and so it's time to make some of these replacements. Buildings and grounds is mostly the buildings, both here, Monument, the firehouses. It includes a fire suppression system that we postponed from doing last year. The HVAC system that's on here is, again, a project that we've kind of piecemealed money over the last couple of years, and this is the final piece that they will need to make that replacement. And then a generator for the firehouse and a floor replacement in this building. It's hard to believe that it's $180,000, but we have a lot of tiles and a lot of carpeting in this building. Fire, and you're going to see OEM, which is next on the slide. Again, there's not a lot of projects because they had a lot of money sitting on the books, so we were able to make a lot of reductions on the capital projects for both fire and emergency services. And that wraps it up for the multipurpose one.
Thank you, Sandy. Any questions or comments for our CFO? Okay, any public comment on this? All right, seeing no public comment, we will close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote.
Ms. Niedergang?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Carried.
Thank you. Ordinance 2024-15, bond ordinance providing for various improvements to the parking utility in and by Princeton in the county of Mercer, New Jersey, appropriating $511,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of 511,000 bonds or notes or Princeton to finance part of the cost thereof. Is there a motion? Thank you, Leighton. Is there a second? David.
So for the parking utility, this is its own self-liquidating utility. So the down payment, there's not a down payment required. These are projects that we will raise in the operating budget for parking so that I do not have to issue debt service. It'll save us, oodles of money down the road by handling these projects the way we have been. So that's parking.
Thank you very much. Any council questions or comments?
I just want to know, is oodles the technical term?
It's a financial term. Come on.
Financial term. I haven't heard that one before, but thank you, Sandy.
Any public comment or questions? No one in the room, no one on Zoom. We'll close the
bring it
public
back.
hearing. Roll call vote.
Ms. Niedergang?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Carried.
Thank you. Ordinance 2024-16, bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements for open space purposes in and by Princeton in the county of Mercer, New Jersey, appropriating $540,000 thereof and authorizing the issuance of $513,000 bonds or notes of Princeton to finance part of the cost therefore. Is there a motion? Thank you, David. Eve's got the second. Sandy.
And this is for open space. Last year was one of the first years that we decided to break out this open space, even though we're going to finance this and we will pay for it, as Eve mentioned before, through open space dollars that are raised through taxation. But we also broke it out so that the down payment is coming from the open space. So these projects that are listed in here, which are some work down at Mountain Lakes and also the parkland diversion that we are going to be on the hook for. And so these are just going to be funded for and paid for out of open space.
Thank you. Council questions or comments? David.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm actually going back to the previous ordinance because I think there was a typo. It read bonds or notes or Princeton to finance. And on all these other ordinances, we're saying bonds or notes of Princeton. So
Yeah, I don't think the or the of is of any substance.
I think it should be corrected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you for noting it, but I just meant we don't need to go back again. We don't need to go back to vote on it again.
Thank goodness.
Okay, any council questions or comments? Eve, on this one?
Jim and I had a brief conversation about this before, so Jim, could I invite you to talk a little bit about this one? Thank you.
I think the brief conversation was Mountain Lake CP North Restoration Project. I think it's important for council and the public to understand that we do make a lot of effort to have things offset. The CP North Restoration Project is going to be done under a national climate solutions grant. And we have a grant of $542,000 to do that work. The $50,000 in here is a small portion of that work that we have to use tax dollars for.
Thank you, Jim. Other council questions or comments? All right, see none. Any public comment questions? None in the room, none on Zoom. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Niedergang?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Carried.
Ordinance 2024-17, bond ordinance providing for various sewer improvements in and by Princeton in the county of Mercer, New Jersey, appropriating $13,550,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $13,550,000 bonds or notes of Princeton to finance part of the cost thereof. Is there a motion? Thank you, Leighton. Eve's got the second. Council, questions or comments? I'm going to get to Sandy in a minute. Sorry. Go ahead.
I just want to thank Andrew Philippi, our sewer engineer, and Dominic Itzy, our sewer operations manager. We've really, in recent years, turned around our attention to this hidden infrastructure and focused on bringing it up to speed and cutting costs through reducing infill and infiltration, reducing the amount of clean water that ends up at our sewer operating plant. So we could not have done it without the hard work of these two members of our staff, so I just wanted to thank them.
Thank you. Sandy?
And these projects are sewer improvements. They're broken out because we're going to seek iBank financing for the total of this ordinance.
Can you just tell people what that means when you say iBank financing?
So we're going to borrow money from the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. One of the biggest benefits with financing through iBank, we don't ever know as we're going in, we don't know until the end of the process, but a lot of times the projects, there's a couple things. Either some of it can be at 0% interest, or some of it can be at 75% interest, 75% off of on the interest rate if we pay them back within a certain period of time.
Thank you. Very important detail and wise to take advantage of. Okay. Any other council questions or comments? Any public comment or questions? Nobody in the room, nobody on Zoom. We'll declare the public hearing closed. Roll call vote.
Ms. Niedergang?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Carried.
Thank you. Ordinance 2024-18, ordinance appropriating $121,000 from the Sewer Trust Fund to provide for miscellaneous facility repairs and improvements in and by Princeton in the county of Mercer, New Jersey. Is there a motion? Thank you, David. Layton's got the second. Sandy?
This one is funded by the sewer connection fees, so there's not a down payment that's required. It's going to be paid for completely out of the connection fees, and it's only for facility repairs at the River Road facility.
Thank you. Any council questions or comments? Any public questions or comments? Sandy, I would just like to say thank you very much for being here and describing each and every bond ordinance that we've just talked about, because I think it's important to make sure, A, we remember what we agreed to before, but also for the public to hear what's happening. So it's extremely useful. Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry. One more shot. No other council questions or comments? Just thank you, Sandy. Okay, I'm going to declare the public hearing closed. Roll call vote.
Ms. Niedergang?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Carried.
Thank you very much. Now we have a series of ordinance introductions, and on ordinance introductions, we don't discuss them because the public hearing is later on, and if we start discussing them, that defeats the whole idea of having a public hearing. So, ordinance 2024-20, bond ordinance amending bond ordinance number 2019-21 of Princeton in the county of Mercer, New Jersey, finally adopted May 6, 2019. The public hearing will be April 29th, 2024. Is there a motion? Thank you, David. Is there a second? Thank you, Layton. Roll call vote.
Ms. Niedergang?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Carried.
Thank you. Ordinance 2024-21, ordinance by the municipality of Princeton concerning probationary terms and promotions within the Princeton Police Department and amending Chapter 26 of the Code of the Borough of Princeton, New Jersey, 1974. The public hearing will be April 29th, 2024. Leticia has the motion. Is there a second? Eve, thank you. Roll call vote.
Ms. Niedergang?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Carried.
Thank you. Ordinance 2024-22, an ordinance by the municipality of Princeton regulating loading zones and parking on Chambers Street and amending the Code of the Borough of Princeton, New Jersey, 1964. The public hearing will be April 29th, 2024. Thank you, Leticia. Is there a second? Thank you, Layton. Roll call vote.
Ms. Niedergang?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Carried.
Thank you. Ordinance 2024-23, an ordinance by the municipality of Princeton regulating motor vehicles and traffic, and specifically the exclusion of trucks over 4 tons from certain streets and amending the Code of the Borough of Princeton, New Jersey, 1974. Is there a motion? Thank you, Leticia. Layton's got the second. Roll call vote.
Ms. Niedergang?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Carried.
Thank you. Ordinance 2024-24, an ordinance of the municipality of Princeton authorizing license agreement for Hermes of Paris, Inc. and Faraday Clothing for Block 20.06, Lot 87.02, Princeton Tax Map pursuant to NJSA 40A 12-1. Is there a Layton? Thank you. Leticia's got the second. Roll call vote.
Ms. Niedergang?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Carried.
Thank you. Ordinance 2024-25, an ordinance of the municipality of Princeton accepting a conservation easement on a portion of Block 2802, Lot 1.01, Princeton Tax Map, and authorizing the execution of a banked parking agreement with Mount Lucas Properties, Inc. pursuant to NJSA 40A 12-4. Is there a motion on that? Thank you, David. Eve's got the second. Roll call vote.
Ms. Niedergang?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Carried.
Thank you. Now we go to resolutions. 24-114, resolution of the mayor and council of Princeton authorizing an increase of $45,479 to the not-to-exceed amount for the professional services agreement with Johnson, Marion, and Thompson, Inc. for construction inspections for the PSE&G Gas Services Modernization Program, GSMP TR-304 2023, for a new not-to-exceed amount of $216,979. Is there a motion on that? Thank you, Eve. Sorry, I didn't. Is there a second? Thank you, Leighton. And Jim, go ahead and tell us the good news on this money coming from.
No, this is for the inspection of our roadways after they get backfilled by the PSE&G contractor. PSE&G has already reimbursed us for the $45,479 and had already reimbursed us for the, has reimbursed us for the entire total already.
Thank you, Jim. Any council questions or comments? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
24-115, resolution of the mayor and council of Princeton authorizing the award of a professional services agreement to Muller and Bally, PC, to provide legal services in connection with the review of development applications to be paid exclusively by escrow funds for an amount not to exceed $162,500. Thank you, Leighton. Is there a second? David's got the second. Questions or comments?
Just,
I'm sorry?
I'll point out that since this comes from escrow account, this is also not coming, this is not the municipal dime or your tax dollars.
Correct. Thank you for pointing that out. Any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
24-116, resolution of the mayor and council of Princeton authorizing the purchase of police vehicles utilizing New Jersey state contracts in the amount not to exceed $386,000, subject to the availability and appropriation of sufficient funds. Thank you, Leticia. David's got the second. Questions or comments? We are hoping to have better luck this year than we did last year, since all the avenues to purchase vehicles, when they opened them, they closed almost immediately. So hopefully we catch up on buying police vehicles, which we have not been able to do for like 4 years now. Okay, any other questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
24-117, resolution of the mayor and council of Princeton authorizing site license agreements with Crown Castle Fiber LLC for 18 locations. Thank you, Leticia. David's got the second. Any questions or comments? Eve.
Just a quick question for Jim. So most of these are T-Mobile and AT&T. I mean, the good thing, I think, Jim, these are, I think you said, are going in on already existing infrastructure. Is that correct?
That's correct. These are upgrades to existing equipment on existing utility poles.
Okay. And the second question is, Verizon also going to be making similar efforts to upgrade its infrastructure throughout the community?
You will see that some of these actually do carry Verizon antennas. If you want, I do have a few slides to present to show you the improvements that we're getting.
Sure.
Okay. Adam, can I have table 2, please? What's up on your screen is the map associated with these 18 antenna replacements that are on the existing poles.
Wait, 1 second, Jim.
Oh, sorry.
No, we just got, there we go. That just came up.
Okay.
We're good.
So this is the map that actually accompanied what's in the agenda packet this evening. Again, these are existing Crown Castle facilities. They are replacing antennas to improve and enhance the service that those antennas provide. Some of them are AT&T, some are T-Mobile, some are combined, some also have Verizon on them. You have already approved a number of them, so this new map also shows prior approvals, and some of those prior approvals, and most of those prior approvals are actually Verizon antennas, so they're already enhancing some of the cell service in these areas. I want to show you, this is the Verizon site license agreements that you have recently approved as well. These are mostly new antennas on new poles. So what you see on your screen now are new facilities going into areas that have poor coverage. This is a cell network coverage map. The green is good, very good, excellent cell coverage service, down to the different areas, down to red, which is extremely poor service. So I thought this was interesting. This is in February. This information is collected by signal detection modems within police cars. So they don't cover the entire municipality because the police that week may not have been in a particular area to pick up signal coverage. I've overlaid some of the more important, this is an edited version of all of the antennas and showing the new antennas going in, particularly in those areas of poor cell service. So you'll notice up on the ridge on Bogart Court, over by 29th Fanet, for example, we have new antennas that will be going in that will, once activated, provide better service in those areas of town. This is all because of Council's insistence on meeting with Verizon and Crown Castle last year in May to let them know how poor service is in town, and they took it to heart, and they're working together with Crown Castle and individually to enhance the cell service in town.
Jim, thank you also for all the work that you and
You're
others in your world have put into this. I know it's been very time-consuming. Eve?
Jim, thanks. I want to echo what Mark said. I know this has been your baby, and you've worked really hard on it. So thanks from us and from everybody in town who's going to benefit. That's a great visual. I know that was similar to the one we saw at our meeting last May. I'd love to, once these new towers are all installed and ready to go, love to have you come back with like a before and after. Maybe that's something we can also, if it seems appropriate, share through our newsletter, because this has been a complaint that I think all of us have gotten, repeatedly for years and years. So it is great to see that we're making progress here, and thank you.
No problem.
Any other council comments or questions? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
24-118, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton authorizing the award of an agreement for extraordinary unspecifiable services with Princeton Senior Resource Center / Center for Modern Aging Princeton for an amount not to exceed $166,965 for a one-year term. Thank you, Eve. Layton's got the second. Any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 24-119, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton authorized to execute an agreement and any amendment or amendments thereto with the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, known as number 1110-00-054, Princeton Open Space Acquisition. Eve has the motion. Is there a second? Thank you, Layton. Questions or comments on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Next up is the consent agenda. Somebody want to move? We pay our bills. Thank you, Leticia. David has the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And David, do you have a motion?
I move that we adjourn.
Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you, Eve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're done. Thank you all for being here and staying to the end.
Thank you.